When Princess Diana died in the car crash and Charles later married Camilla, they told us that Camilla would never be queen and she would never have that title. But this week at the coronation, we watched them put a crown on her head and announce her Queen Camilla. It was very distasteful, and it might seem like a small thing, but it was a betrayal of the public trust. We're not that dumb not to notice. In the Bible, it says you can't put new wine into old wineskins. But this week at the coronation, we witnessed some really old wine poured into some really old wineskins. Charles and Camilla, it was an example of saying one thing and doing something else. Welcome to Conservative Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. At Conservative Coffee Hour, we're discerning a winning strategy and what that would look like. It's the doing a new thing. If you look and search definitions in history on Google or other platforms for Republican Party or any other groups, it's very interesting to see what it says and how it describes them. It's very telling. It's an interesting history. It's in the case of the Republican Party and Democrat Party, you can see it's been something of a ideological war over time, also a strategic maneuver. Someone always has to be dominant, and the opposition usually almost always has, or supposed to have, a voice. The parties have changed place over time, ideologically and strategically. The Republicans traditionally were the Protestant North, and the Democrat, the working class. And even that has reversed itself to some extent over time. So besides the cultural war we're having in society, we can see a class conflict within the parties, especially the Republican Party. Often we're fighting ourselves, and it seems like we're doing more so than the Democrats. The point is, in any given battle, we can only have so many fronts. We have two fronts right now, fighting ourselves and fighting the other side, and that's not and has not been a winning strategy. More important in conversations I've had is I've reached out to people to ask them what is their strategy. I was talking to Nicole from the John Birch, and she shared an interesting piece of the puzzle, and that was the focus from their perspective on the United Nations. The United Nations initiative started under George H. Bush, and they perceive that as actually an additional front that we're fighting. It's a parallel system. It's an agenda introduced into federal, state, and municipal policy, and it's operating as a parallel system. I get the idea of conspiracy, and I kind of follow it and find it helpful, but I really didn't make the connection about how that operates until now. Leslie Dernberger brought up the topic a few weeks ago that we need to create our own parallel system, but I missed the part about how we already have a parallel system in place. So we're working on this strategic plan, and part of that I'm learning is finding out where we are and actually who we're fighting and where the battle is. At the coronation, they did say one thing and did another. And Nicole pointed out the idea that when we see these bike lanes and public housing in wealthy areas, it's an example of there's something else going on. It might be a good thing, but there's a process for accomplishing things, and we're not following that process. It's a parallel system. It's an initiative of the United Nations and big corporations and other non-government agencies pushing their own agenda, and it's usurping the will and interest of the constituents of local municipalities. It actually, we wonder why we feel lost in the system, and it's because we're not even in the system anymore. So we don't want to say one thing and do another. We don't want to continue in that system. We want to create a parallel system, which brings us back to where we started, a constitutional republic. We can't serve two masters. We can't fight on three fronts. I missed the part about the Third Front until now because there's been a lot of noise at Conservative Coffee Hour, and there's a lot of noise in the world, and we encounter many triggers and distractions along the way. We have people all over the state of Illinois, just like our group. It's time to connect everyone, not to say one thing and do another, but to say one thing and do that one thing. And that one thing is reclaiming our country. Working with the John Birch Society, the Illinois Bridging Awareness Group, the Illinois Family Institute, and the Illinois General Assembly, along with many other groups. We want to reach out and meet all the other groups around the state. I believe we can do something new, and we can do it together. If you would like to join us on this journey, please consider doing so. Nicole said we only need 3 people in every county. And then if those 3 people can reach out and connect with 3 other people, we'll be on our way. Nicole said we only need 10% of the people to shake the yoke of the UN and other parallel systems off. If we can do something and say something, then we can do that one thing and do it well, and we can do it with grace, poise, and a little class. And we can indeed do it together. If you'd like to join us at Conservative Coffee Hour is every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this invite. I'll be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.